Chapter 42 Treason, Part 2 Deuteronomy chapter 13, verses 12 to 18. If thou shalt hear say in one of thy cities, which the Lord thy God hath given thee to dwell there, saying, Certain men, the children of Belial, are gone out from among you, and have withdrawn the inhabitants of their city, saying, Let us go and serve other gods which ye have not known. Then shalt thou inquire and make search, and ask diligently, and behold, if it be truth, and the thing certain, that such abomination is wrought among you, thou shalt surely smite the inhabitants of that city with the edge of the sword, destroying it utterly, and all that is therein, and the cattle thereof, with the edge of the sword. And thou shalt gather all the spoil of it into the midst of the street thereof, and shalt burn with fire the city, and all the spoil thereof every whit. For the Lord thy God, and it shall be an heap for ever, it shall not be built again. And there shall cleave naught of the cursed thing to thine hand, that the Lord may turn from the fierceness of his anger, and show thee mercy, and have compassion upon thee, and multiply thee, as he hath sworn unto thy fathers. When thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep all his commandments which I commanded thee this day, to do that which is right in the eyes of the Lord thy God. Deuteronomy chapter 13, verses 12 to 18. There are many churchmen who wish that texts like this one would disappear. Like Matthew Arnold, they want a religion of sweetness and light, not a strong and militant faith. This text is again about treason. It does not call for searching out persons whose faith may be false, but for dealing with aggressive treason by covenant members against the covenant and the God of the covenant. It calls for action because of a serious problem. Certain men are describable as the children or sons of Belial. The word Belial in Hebrew means wickedness. According to ancient Hebraic accounts, the sons of Belial had abandoned the faith and were uncontrollably lawless. Having denied the covenant God, they denied and violated the covenant law as a matter of principle. The word Belial occurs 27 times in the Hebrew Bible. It's used to indicate radically lawless men, as in Judges chapter 19, verses 22 to 26, who demand homosexual rape and will take a woman and abuse her to the point of killing her. It is not a term used lightly. The sons of Belial are associated with hell. They are ready to be used against the godly, as in the insistence of the two men who gave perjured testimony against Naboth, 1 Kings chapter 21, verses 10 to 13. Proverbs chapter 19, verse 28 says, An ungodly witness scorneth judgment. And the word translated as ungodly is Belial. It is a Belial witness who mocks justice. In 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 15, Paul asks, And what concord hath Christ with Belial? Or what parts hath he that believeth with an infidel? In 2 Corinthians chapter 6, verse 14, Paul prefaces his comment on Belial with the statement, What communion hath light with darkness? Certain things are very clear about the biblical use of the term sons of Belial. First, these sons of Belial are aggressively anti-God and anti-Christ. They are deliberately lawless because they hate God. One aspect of their lawlessness is their homosexuality. God's order is despised in all its manifestations, so that, whether it be sodomy or perjury, they are ready for it. Second, As already indicated, they manifest a militant hatred of God and His law and of God's people. They resent God's law and justice and His holiness in anyone. Their aggressive aim is to humiliate and to defile all that is good. The term sons of Belial implies an uncontrollable and aggressive lawlessness. If permitted, they will take over a city or a society to remake it in their own evil image. This should tell us why any text concerning sons of Belial is important. We live in a world where the sons of Belial are in high places, where they riot in the streets, and where they often command the media. What the text does not prescribe is vigilante action. Rather, this is law, and its language is clear. When a city is taken over by the sons of Belial, an investigation must be conducted. The authorities must inquire, make a search for evidence, and ask diligently in order to gain all the information possible. Such a city is at war against the covenants and the nation. Its actions have been aggressive and vicious. It is a perversion of the text to see it as a warrant for a fanatical attack on innocent people. They are lawless in every sphere. This is the meaning of being sons of Belial. To be indifferent to this threat is to surrender the nation. We have in this chapter 3 kinds of subversion dealt with. First, there is the subversion by false religious leaders, verses 1 to 5. Second, there is the enticement to apostasy by one's family and kin, verses 6 to 11. Third, the subversion by an entire city is treated. Shall the course be one of toleration to an aggressive lawlessness? The simple question is, who shall survive? The sons of Belial want the death of godly society. Is this to be treated with toleration? Lawlessness is to be met with God's law. Has the city worked against the punishment of criminal activity? Has it favoured the lawless and the guilty against the godly and the innocent? A city was then a centre for trade and for law. The surrounding countryside depended on it in both spheres, that is, as a trading centre and as the locale of the courts of law. The lawless description of trade and courts means that the innocent are punished. This cannot be tolerated. According to rabbinic thought, the problem was not only to be investigated, but also brought to the attention of the entire nation. The war against God and His justice was and is of concern to all the people. The entire action was thus both public and juridical. It followed after a thorough investigation. It was by no means a matter of lightly undertaken. Once the evidence established the guilt of the particular city, it was placed under a ban, and total war was declared against it. The inhabitants and their possessions were to be totally destroyed. The city was to be burned and was not to be rebuilt. No booty could be taken from the city. No man could profit from its destruction. This served a double purpose. First, God's ban required such a total destruction. It was His judgment on the people and the city. Second, no man could profit from this destruction. This removed any incentive to promote a ban in the hopes of personal gain. We have a reference to this law in the case of Gibeah in Judges chapter 20 and 21. Although the assault and its aftermath indicate that Israel's premises were somewhat mixed, that is, not based solely on loyalty to God's law, it does provide us with an incident where this law is applied. It's interesting that G.T. Manley, in commenting on this text and its requirement of a thorough investigation, said, Much of our British common law can be read back to the Mosaic legislation. In the case of Gibeah, the outrage of the people was due to a murderous rape and the threat of sodomizing a Levite. According to Hosea chapter 9 verse 9 and chapter 10 verse 9, more was involved. Gibeah had apparently given itself over to idolatry and to lawlessness. Their hostility was directed against the Levite, a servant of God, and they demanded the right to sodomize and to kill him. Judges chapter 19 verse 22, chapter 20 verse 5. We are again reminded that this law deals with aggressive lawlessness and a militant hostility to God. There seems to be an echo of this law also in Joshua chapter 7 verse 26, the execution of Achan. Otto Scott has observed that decadence is the inability of a culture or people to defend themselves. This law requires such a defense, not as vigilante action, but as a premise of godly law.